Let's freaking go. We have a lot to get to tonight. I am fired the frick up. I thought I was going to be so sad about Desmond RICKS going to Alabama. But then I rewatch the commitment video. And as everybody that's posted up to this point has pointed out, he almost said Tigers. He almost said Tigers. Where did that kid want to go? Tell me, chat, right now in the comments section, where did Denver Harris want to go? Oh, yes, the school that he ended up at today. All right, we have a lot to get to tonight. Jaden Daniels making the decision to come back. What does the data say? Will we actually see Jaden Daniels take a step forward this year? Will we actually see Jaden Daniels become a better vertical passer? Will we see Jaden Daniels throw a more consistent spiral? These are all questions that everybody wants answered, and we are going to try and answer that question today. King Ulysses, good to see you. Our first super chat of the night is Mark, and Mark and I tweet back and forth quite a bit. I appreciate Mark's knowledge. You are the biggest Walker Howard fan, not named Simper, in the chat. Okay. Full disclosure, I do not know if we're giving out any jewelry tonight, so we'll see. Pressy Collection might swoop in here and do it again. But we have a lot to get to, and we want to start here with Mark's super chat. Looking forward to Howard and Daniels battling it out. I think Nuss transfers out. LSU 2023. Okay. So before I answer this, there's a reason why I pointed out King Ulysses, because I did shout you out in the video that I released earlier today on Des and Ricks, as we also say hi to Mark. We also say hi to Jared. We also say hi to Joshua. We also say hi to Normal Guy. We also say hi to Old Vet. Shout out to the Golden Boot. Really enjoyed hanging out with those guys. Dwayne's on the Nuss bus. Good to see you. Cameron, who's probably got more PHL merch than anybody not named Jared right now in the chat. Spectrum was a crash man, AP midseason All-American last year. We good? So, good to see everybody. But good to see you as well. It's been a while. Not a fan of Jaden Daniels. Are you not a fan of Jaden Daniels, or do you just – I think this is where I think a lot of LSU fans, you know, I think it's hard to not be a fan of Jaden personally. I'm okay with you not being a fan of his overall quarterbacking repertoire, but I think it's hard to not wrap your arms around him personally, because he is about as affable of a guy as you'll meet, according to people around him. I've never met him, so I won't go too far in saying that. But I'd love to have him on the channel. I've tried. But yes, you guys know we have a JD5 fan club president. I'm going to text him, see if he wants to come hang out. But, you know, honestly, a lot of you still think Walker Howard is the future. And Mark is objectively, I don't think you know Walker personally, but Mark is a big Walker Howard believer. Okay? So there we go. So, okay, just not a fan of his play style. It's perfectly fine. And this is the thing about Jaden, and I go back to this all the time. It's unorthodox. Yeah, I don't think you guys there is one OC in particular, and he does call plays. At the high school level, he's also called – now he does, but he's called plays professionally in Europe. And so he's someone that I trust a lot with knowledge. And something else you could see on Twitter, if you really want to know the ins and outs of X's and O's, there are so many people that do this now on Twitter, film studies that are so good, and they will help you understand, you know, some of these more advanced terms. One thing I'll say about my film studies on my channel is they're never going to be so advanced. Like, I'm not, it's just not me. Like, you won't hear me say rip Liz or anything like that. Sometimes I'll use some terminology, but if you really want to know the quarterback position, there are plenty of resources out there for you to get a better understanding of it. But honestly, I don't have the time to learn it all. It takes years, right? There's a reason why there was a lot of sad coaches when Mike Leach passed, because honestly, a lot of people just do what Mike Leach does. And ironically, Mike Leach's stuff is actually relatively simple to other offensive schemes. But the truth is Jaden, I could see why people don't love him at quarterback, because there is a certain type of unorthodox way that he plays that is very strange. Now, I've also shared this. And once again, feel free to super chat, Venmo, Cash App. We'll go straight to your topic. If you don't want to talk Jaden right now, we'll go straight to whatever you guys want to talk about this glorious evening. Okay? So something I'll also say about Jaden's throwing is the ball does have a tendency to float and wobble out of his hands. I wonder how much you can fix mechanically with that. So yeah, it's a very, very, very interesting proposition. So PHL and cards under the tree now. I love it. Hey guys, good to see you, man. Say hi to. I have a feeling LA Mom is in a great mood. I saw her. I saw her light up for Big Al winning our PHL contest. A little hype. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't know, Steve. I talked. So he did accept the prize. I did have one of you guys text me. I won't say who. just checking. Hey, did Big Al accept the necklace? Because he did fall asleep last night. So yeah, I'll have Big Al on here, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about his story. So yeah, we'll have him on here. We'll wait till the necklace gets there, and you'll get to know more about this man's really interesting last couple of years of his life. But yeah, Jaden can do it. Will he do it? That's the thing. I also think this is something that some fans struggle with, is when you see somebody that's open, that's not where you're actually supposed to go with the progression. Sometimes an open receiver is not where you should go with the football. I know it sounds strange, but based on your progression, sometimes it's read number 4 and there's a guy breathing down your neck. So yeah, football can be complex if you don't know the play calls and all of that. That's why when you hear me do film studies, you hear me say all the time, hey, I don't know the play call. If he was taught to do this, you do this, right? But yeah, the one thing I would like to do is actually reach out to a few more coaches to get more opinions on this. And I do already, but what I will say is I did talk to somebody I really trust when it comes to football knowledge, and that is Clark Brooks at SEC StatCat. I like to call him a buddy. Obviously, he is so good at film analysis. And we talked via email correspondence, and he, came on my radio show yesterday. Pause. I did a radio. I do fill in radio stuff from time to time. And we're talking about Jaden, and to chart Jaden Daniels, Clark actually has to chart it differently than other quarterbacks. I could get into why that's the case, but it's a little boring. But basically what that's telling you is it's tough to really quantify what Jaden Daniels does. So a good example is there are at least 10 examples I can point to where Jaden Daniels decided to tuck and run, and the tuck and run actually ended up going for like 10, 15, 20 yards, but the better option was to throw it. There was 2 instances versus Florida State. There were 3 instances of that versus Mississippi State. There was 2 instances of that versus Arkansas, just off the top of my head here. And that's what's weird. So analytically, it gets charted as a really good play because a quarterback run is a really good play analytically, right? The ball's not being turned over. It's an efficient run. It picks up a first down. It has a very high success rate, but scrambles are tough, right? So what I decided to do, and I'll save this for, the film studies we'll release after the bowl week. What I decided to do was quantify how good Jaden was on non-scrambles. And his rushing stats on non-scrambles were actually really good as well. So it's very, very, very interesting. And Hunter brings up the 48 sacks. That was bad, but it also wasn't as disastrous as a normal sack. So, like, let's say versus Alabama, there were 2 sacks that I would consider good sacks, right? They went for 2 yards. They only went for 2-yard losses both times, and nobody was open. So it's a 2-yard loss. Of course, you could throw it away. But one of the sacks was in the red zone, and he did have a rush lane versus man coverage where if he would have been able to get it, he would have probably scored. And the DN did a good job retracing the steps and making the sack. Sometimes a sack isn't a bad thing, but there were a lot of sacks he took that did not need to get taken. So I do agree the sacks have to go down. But what's interesting about the 48 sacks, Hunter, is he actually had less sack yardage than, I believe, Auburn, who only had like 30 sacks or something like that. I'd have to go look it up. I'm actually curious. I'm going to look this up right now. So what that basically means is that he didn't have a whole lot of bad sacks. And something else he didn't have as well was any strip sacks. So, yeah, let me see. Sack yards. Yeah, so this is, okay, let me see. Oh, no, I was looking at the wrong one. I wanted to look at sacks allowed, okay? So we had the most sacks, 45, but, oh, yeah, so it was Arkansas. So Arkansas this year had 31 sacks, and we had 45 sacks. But despite having 14 more sacks, we only had 4 more yards lost from sacks, which is crazy to think about. So our sack yardage, yeah, there were some sacks that Jaden shouldn't have taken, but, it wasn't for a gazillion yards either. One starts at JD5's not shown that he can be a passing quarterback. Nuss showed in one half against the best defense of 2022. Tell me I am not to believe my eyes. 13 TDs in 16 games with the best receivers. Yeah, I think touchdowns could be a little unreliable. Yeah, those passing touchdown numbers should be better. But, he also ran for a lot of touchdowns in the red zone, and that counts for something. Also, look, Garrett Nussmeier's second half versus Georgia was stupendously good quarterback play. The strip sack was bad, and the interception was worse. But honestly, it was really, really good quarterback play. But once again, you get into sample sizes as well, right? That was one half of football, and that's it. Now, could he have played more in that game? Not really. I was fine with them giving Jaden a start on the ankle. And that's why, Mark, I think Nuss should start the bowl game just to see what we have, right? But, I do think you have to be careful with small samples. So let's see here. LA Mom, good to see you. The more I think about it, transfer QBs coming back for year 5 usually works out. LSU should be the favorite for the West next year. Okay. Let's start about the first part. I'm down with that. A lot of 5th-year transfer quarterbacks. Shout out to Stetson. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to a lot of people, quite honestly. LSU should be the favorite for the West next year. Let's see what we do in the portal defensively. I know we've gotten obviously a really good corner and 3 really good defensive linemen. Let's see what else we can get out of there. and let's see what our secondary looks like in the spring. I think we are, not thinking enough about our secondary right now. We are not where we need to be at a very crucial position, and I mean that everywhere, like all of them. There's not really anybody in that room that I feel 100 gazillion% comfortable with starting next year. Now, it's not me saying that I don't think that anybody coming back won't be great starters for us. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think, we can all agree that we're losing our 5 best DBs. We'll see what Greg Brooks decides to do, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna be in some trouble. Now, what does Major Burns do next year? Obviously, he's going to come back and he'll be one of our starters at safety. But yeah, I mean, Toviano, Kylan Jackson, and those guys, they have a shot. They have a shot at getting some playing time right away. So, and Colin Hurley. Yeah, add Collins. I see what you did. Both the Collins. Or, no, Ricky Collins. Hey, Matt, good to see you. Welcome. Do the kids need any more cards? If they do, let me know. Jay Red. Roger Dodger. See here. Yeah, Lewis, I talked about him a little bit earlier today from Southeastern. Very interesting player. Okay. Take a look at the poll question. Who do you want starting in 2023? Jaden Daniels currently winning the poll question 50%. Oh, Mick. I mean, did you watch Josh Williams this year? Trust me, I used to say this exact thing. We need a legit running back. Did you watch Josh this year? I'm serious. I want you to break this down for me. Now, is Josh the best back? No. Is he Clyde? No. Is he Jeremy Hill? No. But he's good. He's really good. Okay. Oh, we got Trey Holly. Got some Trey Holly stands in here. Type Y if you are watching in North Louisiana. Let's go to Hal, one of my many patrons. Hal, you're my guy, my homie. What's your guess on what Nuss does? Does he stay or leave? I want him to stay. I think there's a lot of potential there. I'm looking at this as practically as I possibly can. Okay. So he's got 3 more years of eligibility left. Okay. We can get into a conversation about the bowl game. All right. We can. I'm ready to move on from last year's bowl game to now. Jared, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Can Garrett Nussmeier play? Yes, he can play. Are the turnovers something to worry about? Yeah. Is the upside there really good? Yeah. Throwing wise, it is really, really, really good. Do I like Garrett Nussmeier personally? Yeah, I do. But once again, I've never met him. But once again, as I've shared, I've always been very open about people that I know close to some of the players. Okay. So if you're new, I do know somebody close to Garrett Nussmeier. And I just through him, he gives me information I like to hear, right? I know what you're going to say. Well, of course you're going to say that. Okay. So I cross-reference it, and, well, lo and behold, Garrett Nussmeier is really liked. And, you know, the kid can play. Where could he go? There's a lot of destinations. Obviously, TCU is going to be the one that would be the most heavily rumored because Jack Besh is there, and obviously his dad is in Dallas, and Dallas still isn't that far from Lake Charles, where a lot of Nuss's family is located. Now, you may not believe me, but that's not inside information. That is just practicality. Nuss and Jack Besh were friends. Okay. So TCU makes a lot of sense. They don't have Max Duggan coming back. And it is a Big 12. And Big 12 has always been known as, the run and gun kind of system. Another long shot location. I don't know what their quarterback room looks like, but something that is very interesting that's kind of gone under the radar here by Garrett Nussmeier is that his number one target in high school was a 4-star recruit by the name of J. Michael Sturdivant at Marcus High School. And J. Michael Sturdivant is a good wide receiver in the Pac-12 at Cal. Now, could Garrett Nussmeier go to Cal and light it up in the Pac-12? Easier competition? Yeah. I think Garrett Nussmeier can go to a lot of places and light it up. It would need to be the right system. I do think system, it does matter with him. But, something else I really like about Garrett Nussmeier is, well, he changed who he was this year. And I do think somebody that has this mindset that, hey, I need to change who I am to better suit my team really shows me something about Garrett Nussmeier that really stood out to me. So going and dating back to last year, we have the Jeray Jenkins play. We have the Jack Besh play from 2021. Those plays are absolutely phenomenal. But, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, you can't consistently do that. Maybe once in a game, every now and then you can do that. Most quarterbacking is played within the pocket and within the framework of the offense, right? Unless, of course, you can run like Jaden Daniels. What Garrett Nussmeier did a better job of, in the Georgia game, just in general, is he played within the framework more often. Now, there were some really good plays. He had a nice throw to Kayshawn, on a rollout down the sideline. But, against Georgia, he did a good job, sitting in the pocket and just finding people. So yeah, I like me some Nuss, and I wish him nothing but the best. Okay. This is better than Zach Wilson. So hopefully I answer your question, Hal. Denver Harris, baby. Mark, is that how you order the running backs next year? Or is that just you listing the depth chart? Let me know. I'm kind of curious. So like Caleb, right now, just, once again, I'll go through and see as much senior tape as I possibly can. Right now, Caleb Jackson, I know he didn't play that much this year. That kid has some real talent. He is elite athletically. The injury does concern me just a little bit, but Caleb's got some juice. He has got some real juice. Now, I think Trey Holly has a little bit more wiggle, if you could say. He's probably a little bit better at making people miss. But Caleb is a lightning rod of just a ball of athleticism. Caleb Jackson can really play football, y'all. He can really play football. And I also know via sources that Frank Wilson likes him a lot. So there you go. Emory has a big year next season. Jones or John? Okay. JSB, what it do, baby? Okay. We're going to move on from the Jaden Nuss debate. If you do super chat, we'll come back to it. We'll talk a little bit more about Desmond Ricks as well. If you want to super chat, I don't want to spend too much time on the Desmond Ricks thing. I will play his announcement a little bit later. The fact that this kid almost said Tigers tells you everything you need to know. The Freudian slip. Actually, I'll spend some time on it now. The announcement was weird. Number one, they had the Toonsis logo in the backdrop. Okay. All right. They had the Toonsis logo in the backdrop. Well, we got a Patrick Mahomes comparison to Garrett Nussmeyer. Or are you just comparing situations? Because I only saw a flash of it. I'm trying to get this thing pulled up here. But let's let's not do that. Okay. I don't think that's fair to Nuss. And I love Nuss. So I'm gonna put this up just for a second. Okay. At Power Hour LSU. The Toonsis logo in the backdrop. You know it was doomed for us when the Toonsis logo was in the backdrop. All right. Nick Saban, the GOAT. Oh, and you put the Desmond Ricks photo up. I'm going to give you one more comment, Brock. Okay. I'm going to give you one more comment, and if it comes off trolly, I'm going to block you. Okay. Y'all know I have a long leash for the block. Let's go to Max's super chat here. Do you really believe, after watching Howard and even Ricky Collins tape, that they are both not more talented quarterbacks? Okay. Cliff, that's what he's saying. Max is saying, Max is asking if Walker Howard is more talented than Jaden. Okay. Definitely has throwers, both of them. Yes. Yes. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Yes. Okay. Always important to get this context down right. Okay. Trusty, Mac, I'll say Max K. All right. So do y'all want me to block? Okay. You know he's trolling when he has to change his photo. There's a gazillion all-time great Alabama players. A gazillion. And your profile photo is Rick's? I will say, if I was making my college decision and I had told Nick Saban the day before that I was going to pick Alabama, the one thing I would make sure to not say is Tigers. It was bizarre. That announcement was very bizarre. Okay. So I blocked him. Yeah, Max. Ricky's got some spin. He can really play. Obviously, speed of the game is going to be very interesting. I know there's been, conversations with his release. I've gotten the good fortune to speak with Ricky Collins, one of his private quarterback coaches. And he just told me how much velocity Ricky can generate on a football. And Ricky's a very good runner. Is he a Jaden level runner? No. But honestly, nobody really is. It's hard to be that good at running. But Ricky can run. Ricky can flat out run. And Walker, if you're just talking pure throwing talent and stepping up in the pocket and making big throws, Walker's probably more talented than Jaden as well. But that's just, raw talent. That doesn't factor in experience. It doesn't factor in, other factors as well, such as familiarity with, the team and having all those games under your belt. And yeah, but I would agree with this. It definitely, they're better throwers. I don't think anybody would disagree with that under any stretch of the imagination. Okay. Ricks wanted to go to Bama the whole time. He used LSU to make up their NIL deal. That makes a lot of sense as well. The announcement though is just it was very weird. Also, something else about it was he didn't mention all his IMG teammates at Alabama, and I did. So for Eli Ricks, I was thinking he was going to go to LSU, and the entire time, and I became a little bit of a nuisance as far as like reaching out to people with information. Every time they felt comfortable with Eli Ricks going to LSU. Every time. I'm not joshing you. So once I got all that information, I was like, okay, let me dive deep. Because people are going to want to see a deep dive on Eli Ricks. I say Eli Ricks. Desmond Ricks. And I started looking at a lot of his high school games. And then I started listening to a lot of his interviews. And this kid is strictly football. And it makes sense, right? He was old for his grade, so it was probably always thought of that he was going to jump a grade. He got his first offer as an 8th grader. Sometimes I think that's a good and a bad thing, because once you get a Division I college offer and you're in 8th grade, you're kind of set on what you want to do, right, with your life. And in every interview that I listened to him, he just said, hey, I do football. It's what I do. It's my favorite thing to do is football, right? So he went to a factory, and it's tough. It's tough to beat Saban. It's tough, especially for defensive backs. I think if you go actually look at the discourse surrounding Sage Ryan at the time, as most recruiting reporters, Sage Ryan was going to Bama. Thanks to Trev Falk and a few others, we were able to, flip that, but still, it was very, very, very interesting. John Sibley in 07 won a natty with the QB who waited 3 years to play. Things change. What was it, Jared? Matt Flynn said, and I trust Jared, I didn't listen to the interview, but Matt Flynn said if there was a transfer portal when he played, he probably would have entered it, because, he was behind Jamarcus Russell. And if Jay Russ didn't leave early, Flynn would have never gotten a chance to play. Okay, so did someone? That was on me. I saw someone do some kind of Nuss Mahomes comparison. We are over 200 viewers, so it is kind of tough for me to see all the comments. So yeah. Once again, I don't have a delayed chat on. I might have to turn it on. Make sure, guys, gals, to not clog the chat, because I don't want to do the 30-second slow chat delay, but I might have to because this is the second time that and I don't mind going back and forth in a debate. That's perfectly fine. It's part of the channel, but just be mindful because other people might be trying to get a word in, and it's tough for them, to get in if that makes sense. So there you go. I know we got Denver, who I think is a true first round potential, but these are the recruiting battles we have lost to. Roll Tide, what F you 4 years, and that needs to change. Okay. Here's what I think happened here with Desmond RICKS. I think what Cliff said a minute ago is very sound, right? I was winked, nodded as far as Desmond RICKS is concerned, that LSU was not going to let him go. And I think you guys know what I'm referencing here. They were going to make sure everything is taken care of. Okay. And I don't think that was the issue here. It would make more sense if the kid always wanted to go to Bama and he was just trying to, drive the price up as much as possible. Whatever. What I do know is that there was some of this involved. And think about it. When big multi-million-dollar businesses, such as these college football teams, need a problem to be solved, and we needed a 5-star corner in a major way, well, you go to the highest bidder. Every team needs outside cover corners. There's not a single system. There are systems that don't have jack linebackers. There are systems that play a lot of too high safety, so you don't need a box safety. Every system needs corners. It's a non-negotiable. Okay. Not every system has your traditional defensive tackles. Some DTs are 4 eyes. Some DTs are shade techniques types of players. And yeah, corners, certain corners fit better in certain systems as well. It's not what I'm saying. It's just everybody needs corners. And there's only so many of these guys out there. And, Desmond RICKS was a guy that was reclassified and was one of the last uncommitted guys. And, supply and demand, right? It's just how these things roll now. So yeah, Max, I think LSU did everything they possibly could. I really do mean it. I know they spent a lot of time and resources on it. So, as you can see, I forgot to take this off. I do have a hospital band on. I did have to go get a checkup earlier today. Nothing serious, but obviously been under a lot of stress for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. Let's see, 218 of you in here. Friendly reminder: if you've ever watched me, and if you want to help me grow, and if you love me, okay, one way to show love back to get you some PHL merch. I'm wondering if Rico is going to super chat another stalker question today. I wasn't able to watch a second of it because today obviously was just crazy. But RRLSU.com, RRLSU merch. Go ahead, get you some of that. Go ahead, Buck. Buck, I want you to get a PHL hoodie. Go kill the deer and wipe the deer's blood on the sweater and send it to me. I'm kidding. I've always found it to be interesting, though, the people that do hunt deer, your first hunt is you kill the deer and then you wipe the blood on your forehead. I've always found that to be very interesting. Air Force is putting it on Baylor. Funny thing, James, is I actually picked Air Force in that one for this reason. Okay. If you order Power Hour LSU merch, $70 worth of merch, get you a Kayshawn card, get you a Derek Stingley card, get you a Jaden Daniels card. And guess what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to throw a Joe Burrow card in there. Okay? A Joe Burrow rookie card. $70 worth of merch. I'm sending this to you. Okay? So Hunter's buying some sweaters tonight to go hunting with his friends. I like that. It's good stuff. Wait, what? Michael, stop. 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 Not supposed to do that. I won't believe it. So part of the reason why I took Air Force tonight is because Baylor was recruiting. Do you really think Baylor was focused on this bowl game versus Air Force? No. They were dealing with the early signing period. They were trying to worry about a 4-star quarterback who went to Oregon anyway. You really think they're focused on a random bowl game? It sucks, but that's part of the reason why I picked Air Force. What's the score now? 23-7. All right, Buck. Go on ahead and get your hoodies, man. Get your hoodies, and I want deer blood on those hoodies. Okay. And I'll send you some Joe Burrow cards, buddy. Air Force triple option is tough because no one sees that approach much today. Huh? Don't forget thank you, Max. So I have launched a Power Hour LSU OnlyFans. Okay. If that's your kind of thing, times are tough, man. Times are tough. You get feet pics. You get all kinds of pics. Power Hour LSU OnlyFans. Okay. Who needs Mia Khalifa? Right? Got me. Right here. Where's my dang hoodie? Can't wait. Can't wait till Doug's got the PHL hoodie. Let's go. Also, if you want a PHL OG shirt, hit me up. Okay. TOV's like, who? Wait, who is this? Huh? Oh, that's a good question, Josiah. Obviously, Surtain is I don't think Desmond Ricks is Patrick Surtain level good. I think part of our want for Desmond Ricks is that, well, we needed a corner of that caliber. You know, in retrospect, we did get Derek Stingley the next year, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And it also helped that Christian Fulton went through what he went through in the NCAA, and the timing kind of worked out for us anyway. And yeah, so I guess RICKS, just because we don't know what the future holds. So yeah, good to see you, Josiah. Rob G, what it do, baby? Let's go. Okay. Let's see here. Check the poll question. Who do you want starting? Jaden Daniels winning this poll by a wide margin. I also think the Nuss Walker vote kind of divided into each other. So let's do this. Okay. Let's do this. Shout out Max and Cumby here. Let's change the framework of this question. So while I type this question out, we're going to throw a quick break right here. Let's see. We go to Rugger. So what does JD do if he loses a position, a third year Nuss and a second year Howard? Can't be easy to beat out. It's got to just be so hard to take away an incumbent's job. It always is, right? Let's go to Rob G. Thank you for your generosity. Really appreciate you. Okay. Do you really think JD will make the throws timely and deep? There are two issues there. Yeah, it's a good point here from Rob because Jaden was late on some of the deep throws, right? Like even the ones he did complete were late some of the times. So yeah, I think that's a really good point from Rob. I always appreciate your objectivity, right? Rob's always very fair. So, and you guys know that. You know, Rob's been our most consistently solid, one of our most consistently solid commenters. So I appreciate you. Okay. And it's tough. You know, it's just what we care about the most, right? And deep, you know, Jaden's ADOT isn't as good as Nuss's, if you will. But let me share a conversation here, Robin. I was going to save it for, and I referenced this guy a little bit earlier for SEC StatCat. So before the season, SEC StatCat, I'm just going to be honest, he is a way better film analyst than I am. He just is, and he's really good at it. So Clark does a really good job of objectivity, right? And I rely on a lot of his data and his football acumen, right? And before the season, he was not a Jaden Daniels fan. But I talked to him. I did a radio segment with him yesterday, and we talked via email somewhat often. And he said something very interesting to me. You know, I shared the anecdote earlier about, you know, how difficult it can be to chart Jaden Daniels because of the scrambling ability is so freaking good. But But what's really interesting, Rob, is Clark said he was very shocked at how good Jaden was this year. Like, he was an overall really good quarterback. Like, the lows were low, and those need to get fixed. And I've been very vocal about those. I would like to think I've been fair, to both or all three of the quarterbacks. But he said, and I was very impressed with his improvement. And it's a guy who charts every throw. So yeah, I think if you believe Jaden can improve more, you feel more comfortable. What I want people to also say on the other side of the coin here, though, is not all quarterbacks improve, right? And I know it is hard to resist LSU fans everywhere comparing Joe Burrow to Jaden Daniels, right? A lot of comparisons. Year 4, you have, so-so numbers, and then year 5, you catapult, right? And he's got all these great weapons. He's going to have a way better offensive line and all of that. But improvement is not something that always happens. It's not. Sometimes who you are is who you are. And honestly, that's the hardest thing of it. Like, I think one thing as well. So you guys know I always say you have to evaluate quarterbacks differently than every other position in every aspect of the sport, whether it be how do they play, whether it be the transfer portal, recruiting, all the way down to the colored jersey they wear at practice. Everything that quarterbacks have to deal with is so different than everybody else on the team, right? But I do want to include this example. Like, for instance, Will Campbell. Will Campbell in high school, he gained a lot of weight when he got to LSU. And he really put in the work to being a Power 5 Division I guy. And it was pretty clear that Will was one of the hardest workers on the team. The same thing could be said about Mason Smith, why he had such a great true freshman season. He went on a pescatarian diet or something like that and really said to himself, look, I have got to get in better shape for me to be an elite defensive tackle. And he was as a true freshman. But sometimes improvement just doesn't happen. Like, and Jaden this year, the one thing I can say about his offseason that he did put in the work. That's the concerning thing, is that he put in the work to improve his throwing, and the throwing it kind of improved. And there's more to quarterbacking this than just throwing, but it wasn't what I would like to consider great, right? And let's go to Hunter Super Chat. Thank you so much, Hunter, for your generosity. I really appreciate it. I believe I think you've super chatted before, but if it is your first time, I really do appreciate you. I really do. I think we have mutual friends as well, so I appreciate you so much. And I hope one day you change your avatar, because I like seeing people's glorious faces, okay? How do you fix a 4-year starter from going in a shell after a TO like a freshman? Yeah, it's a tough thing about it. Like, I don't know. And I think what makes it a little worse for Jaden is that he is such a great runner that he's like, okay, if I run, I rarely fumble if I run, which quite honestly he doesn't. All the fumbles this year were zone reads from him. And I also won't throw a pick. It won't get deflected. And quite honestly, Hunter, there was a throw at the beginning of the second quarter versus Alabama. It was a tough read. But it was honestly the same concept that the Rams ran against the Buccaneers to win the game late versus them in the playoff game, right? And Kayshawn actually got open on that play. It takes a really advanced level quarterback to hit Kayshawn on the play, because he honestly is the last read. But it was there, and Jure was on a dig, and Jaden didn't see it, and he decided to run, and then he didn't decide to run, and he took a bad sack. And I was like, God, that's a tough thing to read. It honestly wasn't the easiest read, but I like to see it. And then there was also very simple things, right? Like, we did a film study on the 4 verts missed to Mason Taylor at the end of the Texas A&M game. That is, you've got to be able to make that read. That's a layup throw. It's a vertical passing concept, so it is more difficult, but it's 4 verts. It's not an in-breaking route. Where Jaden really struggled this year were vertical routes up the seam that opened themselves up. And he missed them. He missed quite a few, honestly, this year. And I was like, God bless. I mean, why aren't you ripping it? And I think he sees it. It's just, I don't know. You would have to ask Jaden or Joe Sloan that. So yeah. Let's go to a super chatter from earlier. Carter compared JD5 and Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little low key Jalen Hurts stan, because I actually drafted him in every fantasy football league I was in. I think one of the PHL fantasy leagues, or actually both of them, I didn't draft him in those, but all my other like paid fantasy leagues, I drafted him in every one. He was such a steal in the 5th and 6th round of every draft. And I listen to all these. I was listening to fantasy football podcasts, and it kept saying Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts. So I'm low key a Jalen stan because he got me to the playoffs. Now I am riding Gardner Minshew. But yeah, Jalen Hurts is a really good processor. There's a bunch of really good Eagles film study accounts. I mean, I know Jalen isn't Mahomes or Burrow, as a thrower, because those guys are on a different planet. But Jalen has made some throws this year. I am like, wow, this guy is so good. Now, one thing I'll say is this is probably one of the best supporting cast I've ever seen in the NFL. He's not Jets. He's not Tyreek Hill, but A.J. Brown is right behind those guys, right? And Jamar, he's behind those guys. A.J. Brown's only 25, and they're best friends. They are best friends. So that was good. Devonta Smith is a good number 2. Dallas Goedert's a good tight end. They've got the best center in the NFL, Kelsey. They've got a great offensive line. And they've got a great staff with Sirianni and Staley and those guys. So Jalen's got a great staff, but the kids put in work, right? And when he was at Alabama, he had a bunch of Jaden tendencies, right? He wouldn't rip it, and eventually, Jalen Hurts is a very strong-willed player. He is one thing as far as Jaden is concerned, Jalen Hurts does not make excuses. That's something that I like a lot about Jalen Hurts. Jaden doesn't make excuses either, right? I think he was frustrated that it came out that he had the flu versus Arkansas because he didn't want that to be an excuse for the performance. But yeah, I think obviously what Jaden provides to our running game is very similar to what Jalen Hurts provides to his running game, even though Jalen is built, and he's thicker. Jaden has some really physical running. He breaks a lot of tackles as well, despite having a more diminutive body. But Jalen Hurts has made big throws, and Jalen has made JD5 has made some throws. But honestly, go watch Jalen Hurts versus the Steelers. So, it's Mike Tomlin, it's Minkah Fitzpatrick, and those guys. I mean, some of the throws in that game were absurd. So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. And I actually am using some Jalen Hurts footage for one of my Jaden breakdowns, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I've been really impressed with Jalen Hurts, as you can see. He's not the MVP though. let's just get that straight. Patrick Mahomes is the MVP of the NFL. The MVP. Dude, Patrick Mahomes, most valuable player. This is one of the best NFL seasons I've ever seen. Like, this guy loses Tyreek Hill and is like all over the place. I mean, Mahomes is so absurd. Every week I watch his YouTube highlights because he has just exceeded, everything I could think of a quarterback right now. And by the way, that Joe Burrow guy's pretty good. But yeah. I like it. I like the I like the comparisons, right? So once again, I can't see every comment, but once again, try not to overrun the comments. All right. Or I'm gonna put the 30-second blocker up. I've gotten a few complaints about, the comments. I'm able to see a few texts and messages and all of that. So please be kind to everybody. That's all there is to it. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Unless you I know quarterback is one of the big stories that happened today. Okay. I am going to move on from the quarterback conversation. I know that's what everybody wants to talk about. It is by far the most important position, but I am going to move on from it. And I kind of sort of want the chat to move on from it as well. Once again, if you super chat, that's always a policy. I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, LSU football related or for Rico, EPL related. But I do want to move on. What I want you to do right now in the chat, who is going to be the best 2023 high school recruit signee? I want you to type it in the chat right now. Okay? Not who you think is going to be the best player year one. I'm saying, who do you think will have the best career when it's all said and done? Okay? Carter, don't slow chat us. Okay, y'all better thank Jared right now. Desmond, what's up, man? Oh my God, what's up? Yes. Zalance heard, and that's not debatable. Well, we got 3 Zalances. I think it's debatable. Jackson Howard, okay. Heard. Jackson Howard. Jacob, I wish I could agree with you, but the highest percentage of hits we have ever had in a recruiting class is 66%. And that's only happened once. I think we've only crossed 60% hit rate. Once again, hit is subjective, but I think that's only happened once. Okay. So I think that's tough. Shelton Sampson. Mike says, I'm sticking with the Bears. I like it. Jaylen Brown. Very interesting, John. I hope you're right. That would be a shock. Mikey says Jaylen Brown as well. Okay. That was a very good statement. I'm telling you. Hurd and Campbell. I like it. I am the answer. Ray says Kylan Jackson. You have said this in 2 consecutive chats. So, Ray, you have officially been crowned. And Ray, you can accept this crown, or I can bestow it on someone else. We have viewers in Zachary. Ray, you are the Kylan Jackson fan club president. Now, Ray, you can comment right now. If you don't want it, I could probably find someone else that's a Kylan Jackson stan. Okay, let's go to Max's super chat here. Thank you so much, Max. I really appreciate it. I am not going to the bowl game. Thanks for asking, Hal. Seniority, in my opinion, is the most idiotic thing in college football. especially at the quarterback position. I like JD5. I thought it was ridiculous that he had to block his messages, but there needs to be 100% fair comp. And you also agree with Jaylen Brown. Now, Max, I also know you're a Dolphins fan, so you have some Florida connects there. Ray says, I will take it. So Ray's got it. Congratulations, Ray. You're the Kylan Jackson fan club president. Okay. Let's see what we got over here. How was it smooth at all? Let's see. This. Put that right over there. Cool. And let's add this. All right. What am I doing? Okay. I've got to get some of this merch out. All right. So I'm doing. So if you order $70 worth of merch from the PHL store right now, you're getting these 3 cards: Jaden Daniels, Derek Stingley, Kayshawn. Okay. I'm also going to throw in this season ticket, Tyrann Mathieu. All right. And I'm also going to throw in a Donruss Joe Burrow base card. Okay. $70 in the store right now. Okay. I had typed in Womack before I heard career. I'm going to take a hot take and say, oh. I like it, Michael B. Maybe I'll be holding a Ricky Collins card here in a few years. We got a Pimpton. We got a Pimpton pick. he's existed for 2.5 seconds on LSU's campus. And Pimpton. John Silby, thank you so much. You and Jared, along with Van, Jason, and a few others, are some of the most generous people I've ever met. Really do appreciate it. Max, Cumby, the big super chatters, you know who you are, right? Now, what I'm going to do, all right, and John Silby, I think you don't mind this at all. It was a very special day today, and I was going to do this yesterday, but my stupid self didn't get to it, and I lost sleep over it. And I know we normally do Presley Collection and PresleyCollection.com, but I think Presley would want us to celebrate a man of many, many, many talents, and I don't know why his photo is not popping up. I'd have to go find it. So that wasn't smooth at all. But I don't think he'd care. He'd hate that I'm bringing him up. Yesterday was King Robert's birthday. So may you rest in peace. Holiday season, make sure you hug your loved ones very much so. Now, if you're a new PHL, you probably don't know who King Robert is. King Robert is like life to me. He really got this channel off the ground, as a lot of you probably remember. And I miss him like a lot. So yeah. So it's his birthday, and it was also his sister's birthday today as well, Mitzi. So I wish them a very happy birthday. They are a huge part still of what we do. And I miss King Robert all the time. Oh, truly, truly, truly a one of a kind man. One of the best commenters and a big reason why this thing ever even got going. Okay. Given the recruiting season, is it possible that coach will put in an offense that is radically different? BK seems to be old school than new school. Can this class move the Tigers to a more dynamic, modern offense? That is a really, really, really good question, John Sibley. I want to, there you go. All hail King Robert. All hail the king. R.I.P. Jacob loved him some King Robert. Okay. So Doug, this super chat as well have at least 5 more from the portal announcing tomorrow, according to BK. And he guesses getting over 30 commits can't put us around our highest class ever. BK can't recruit. Yeah, I've got a few players to keep an eye out for. And we'll get to that in just a second. But we are going to do this first super chat here from John Sibley Butler. Given the recruiting season, is it possible that coach will put in an offense that is radically different? Yes and no. They started, towards the end of the year, started doing some more of these Lane Kiffin deep crosser concepts. They tried it early versus Georgia. Those concepts work when you're playing against teams that don't have talent or elite talent. I kind of want to see more Lane stuff because I did like what it did for Jaden as a thrower. So yeah. I would like a more modern offense, but you can make a case that a modern offense now is actually running 12 personnel the way that Georgia runs it. You want to talk about modern, having tight ends that can be inline guys, but also split out wide like wide receivers. That's modern offense right there. That's stuff that I've just honestly, I've seen it before. Some of those Miami teams were just filthy at tight end, but yeah. I do think it'll help Jaden if we can make some things easier. It did obviously help out when we played faster. But yes, BK is a little old school than new school. Yeah, I do think some of that is true. But honestly, Brian Kelly was very analytically sound. And I think Scott Woodward, as far as making a hire is concerned, I was worried about that. But Brian Kelly's fourth down decision making this year was actually relatively aggressive. And yeah, I honestly think that was good. Can this class move the Tigers to a more dynamic, modern offense? Yeah, I think a dynamic, modern offense. I think it's a better question to ask John Sibley. Can a player like Zalance Hurd help us? One very small story that I think kind of went under the radar is that our offensive line did get a little banged up towards the end of the year, and you could just kind of see them wearing down. Getting more depth and more muscle and just better overall recruiting talent on the field will prevent some of the bull rushes that we gave up towards the end of the year. And, better talent on the offensive line could really help us out in that aspect. But really good super chat, John Sibley. I really do appreciate you in a major way. Yes, very good, AD. King Robert used to throw down, but I really appreciate his friendship more than anything. We will talk often, FaceTime, all the good stuff. Yeah, as far as transfer portal commitments, I think the defensive back from Southeastern is someone they're gonna bring in. I think it's worth it. He's a 6'3" corner. I know the Kobe Richardson and Darren Evans portal guys coming over have left some scars for some people. Obviously, Kobe was a little bit better than Darren Evans, but I'd be interested in that. I also think Doug, they want to bring in a off-ball linebacker. And I know BK said when he was asked, hey, what are some other positions you're looking at? He said defensive line and secondary. I do think they want to get an off-ball linebacker because I do think that they were interested in Edgerrin Cooper at Texas A&M, and he decided to stay. So, I think they are going to go in that direction. Now, offensively, I don't know if there's any room for anybody offensively to still come over. So I think defensively is where they're going to focus a lot of their attention. I think they're fine with what they have offensively. Obviously, they're gonna keep an open mind, and I could see an offensive player or two coming over. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I know. I only run toss die. Huh? I think for me, it's tough to find those players of that caliber every year. Okay. King Robert. Kai Prien at corner. I'm glad you brought that up, Kylan Jackson, president. I'm going to give a radical idea here. Okay. And when I mean radical, it's radical, but you got to hang with me just for a second. Now, normally you think radical, sometimes it can have a negative connotation. Sometimes it can have a positive connotation. Just depends on who you are, where you're from, whatever, and the context. But something that is radical in a good way, while at the same time being classy and elegant, and most importantly, generous, is something that I think about, quite often. And, I think about it from time to time on here, and by time to time, I think about it a lot. Okay. And I don't know if you guys are on my vibe level right now. I just don't know. Okay. Kind of sad, honestly, that, you guys aren't on my level right now. But that's okay. That's okay. Because when I think classy, elegant, generous, while also being radical, while also being incredible, while also being loving, while also taking calls from everybody. There we go. Even though she is disgruntled, she knows who I'm talking about here. If you're a first timer, you're probably like, what the heck? Pressy Collection and the PressyCollection.com. So what did we do yesterday? LA Mom, can you inform, or Skipper, or anybody out there, can you inform what happened last night on the channel? Okay. Let the people know. Bang. All we did was give out a pearl necklace. Right? Now, if you want a pearl necklace such as this one, I can get it to you. $100 shipped. And guess what? It's $250 retail at Pressy Collection, PressyCollection.com. But here's a good thing about it is, oh yeah, that's a PHL discount. So if you're interested, hit me up. But guess what? For the first time in forever, I'm not going to put Haley's diamond ring up. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. Just kidding. Pressy Collection, PressyCollection.com. Engagement rings, necklaces, diamond pendants, opals, anything. Gina, you missed out. Maybe somebody, Gina, will order you a pearl necklace. Maybe you need to get somebody on this. Gina, if you want one, it's a pretty high quality necklace for only $100. Retails at $250. Shoot me a message at Card of the Power. I gotcha. Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. Oh, okay. You're one of these. Yeah. I'm just going to be honest. If Haley sees this, she will find you, and I don't know, but I can't put them. I can't put one on your neck because I am clumsy, right? Gina, Got my girl a ring pop for Christmas. Huh? QB controversies never die, unfortunately. She's going to find you. I can't believe somebody made a troll account just for this one thing. By the way, all these cards are going to you. $70 worth of merch from the PHL store. Can't beat it. DeMarcus, good to see you. What are the most controversial calls of this college football season? Oh, what is God? Oh, I know one. Egg Bowl. The fumble that was a fumble, but was it a fumble? Okay. I don't know. Smash Mouth football is coming back. Let's go. R.I.P. John Madden. Isn't it crazy though? Like, what do they say? Like in the past year, we lost John Madden, Mike Leach, and Franco Harris. Like 3 of the most quotable, lovable, affable guys. So, yeah. I don't know, Pierce. Somebody apparently thinks I'm that guy. I'm not that guy, pal. I'm not that guy. Gina disappeared. I broke her heart already. Bama, Tennessee field goal ending. I'm trying to remember. There was somebody, right? That what was her name? She would always flirt with me. And then we had a viewer, I haven't seen him in a while. Ahmad kept trying to talk to her, and he kept getting closer and closer. She's not made an appearance in quite some time. Crap, what was her name? I'd have to go back and look at the live chats. Boom, what's up, JJ? Good to see you, man. Taking a look at the poll question. Who do you want to start in 2023 for Max and Cumbie, Jaden Daniels? Slightly. I wonder if she knows there's a PHL OnlyFans. Let's go. The Bama fumble. Oh yeah, that was bad. Tottenham, Xavier Thomas, Stan. I always will be. I don't know. I love me some Xavier Thomas, but we got plenty of receiver talent. So yeah. Yeah, I know, Pierce. Why there's no reason, okay? It is the most viewed video I've ever done college football related. Was the Bama Tennessee field goal ending video I did on Power Hour SEC. Okay? But Pierce, it's crazy like that this has happened like twice now. I am the fattest I have ever been. Like I am fat. Like I look at myself in the mirror every day and I'm like, what the heck am I doing with my life? I used to be a what do they call it? I was a soccer player. I played midfield, right? And you would not have guessed that I played midfield. I'm fat, right? By the way, Power Hour SEC, you see we're 25 subscribers away. James, just shoot me a message. We'll get you set up. Okay. Shoot me a message on Twitter, James. We'll get you all set up. Let's see here. The boss is sick. Please go check on her. Tell her I said hello. All about confidence, Car. You be as sloppy as you want. I love that. I love Max's diction is pause. Let's use verbiage. Okay. His use of words is really good. Okay. I just love that. You could be as sloppy as you want. I love that. Yeah, I love that. You could be sloppy. This is a good question here from, make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, DeMarcus or DeMarquis. Okay. DeMarcus or DeMarquis. Do I feel like next year's college football season will be like the 07 college football season, with the upset alerts like it was in 2007, followed by bad decision making back then? I don't know if we'll ever get another 07 season. This year was kind of close, right? Especially with LSU being a 2-loss SEC West champion, went out and you're in kind of situation. But it all became a little anticlimactic when they lost to Texas A&M, which kind of stinks, right? So I think 07, because we had Tennessee being good and beating Alabama, I think the key to a great college football season, it's going to sound petty, is Alabama losing. It adds so much intrigue. Alabama's the highest rated team in the country because of Saban and the brand. It just adds so much fun to the sport when Alabama loses. And I don't know about you, I love it. I love seeing Alabama lose. So yeah. I think next year's college football season will be like the 07 college football season. I think this year was a lot like it. I know it didn't finish that way. It kind of became moot because, TCU lost and still got in. I know USC losing at the end was kind of fascinating to get Ohio State in, but yeah. So DeMarcus, okay. This is also true. Joshua, good to see you as well. I'm happy they got. So, dude, what's up, Joshua? Changing up the photo. I like it. I get to see real Joshua. There you go. Got to get you in a PHL shirt now. Are we favorites in the SEC West next year? I think so. I think LSU will be picked to win the West next year. I know normally people pick Alabama. It's every year. But I do think the voters are going to want to spice it up and pick LSU for all we're returning. So, but more than likely, they're going to pick Alabama. I think, Carver, some more interesting questions going to be, what is LSU's win total going to be? And honestly, I can see it being 9, right? And that's a pretty drastic jump from 7.5 to 9. It's a huge jump, quite honestly. Yeah, I could see it being 9. Something else that kind of went in LSU's favor, and I'm not saying that, yeah, I'm not saying this in bad taste at all, because I have done, quite a few Mike Leach tributes, but there is going to be a transition year with a 36-year-old first-time head coach. So yeah, I think for me, man, let's be honest here, right? Arkansas's roster is having a severe overhaul right now, but they do return KJ Jefferson. Ole Miss returns a lot of their key pieces. They should have a really good team next year. They're going to have to hit the portal on defense, but they have to do that every year. And the recruiting this year just sucked. Obviously, A&M, they do have a quarterback now. It's good. They do return some players, so they'll be better in a sense. But you could see Mississippi State having growing pains. You could see a bunch of teams having growing pains next year. LSU is going to be the adult in the room. When last year we were not. We were a team that didn't know what we were. We didn't know who our best players were. And Air Force beat the brakes off of Baylor, 30-15. Ugh. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of sort of is if you're playing a triple option team. Not really shocked though. I mean, it's hard to coach a game when you're trying to worry about, the early period. Oh, I think this is very interesting. Okay. All right. I do want to show you this. Okay. So it's one thing if a fan does this, but let me show you this really quickly. All right. Again, it's all credit to 247 Sports. Okay. But this honestly is very interesting. Okay.
Phone call.
Okay. Not there. Stop sharing. We want to share this screen. Okay. So I want you to listen very closely.
It was a phone call. I just called him. I told him I'm ready to get ready to come home and roll. It was a phone call. I just called him. I told him I'm ready to get ready to come home and roll. It was a phone call. I just called him. I told him I'm ready to ready to come home.
I'm never going to forget that Desmond Ricks almost said Tigers. What's interesting, though, is this was Deshaun Womack who said this. Okay? Now, Deshaun Womack put a lot of effort in getting Desmond Ricks to LSU. A lot. He tweeted out a bunch of times, and I'm sure he did even more. Also, what makes this very juicy is Deshaun Womack plays IMG Academy every year. So IMG Academy in Florida, they don't have like a set schedule. The only team they play every year is St. Francis in Maryland. So Deshaun Womack knows Desmond Ricks probably pretty well, and they're rivals. Okay. And I'm sure Womack did a lot of the heavy recruiting. I know he is mad. And probably not mad, but he's going to be petty about it. I love that. I gained a lot of respect for Deshaun Womack. I was getting caught up on the live stream, and I see you got hit on. That was hilarious. Keep slinging that jewelry, bro. Merry Christmas to you and Haley. Thank you so much. That was kind of weird. What was her name? That was kind of weird. So there was one comment. Normally, like a bot would, make the one comment and then do another comment. Gina. It's never too late to say press the collection. Okay. So it was Gina, right? John Sibley is so funny. Was it me or Carter who got hit on? Okay. So this is what's kind of suspicious about it. This comes from someone that's actually in the chat. All right. Or sees this chat. All right. I'm not able to see every message. And I really do mean it. I know I get money from this, but when you do super chat, I am able to see it immediately. It flashes on the screen. I get like a notification here in the top right. Okay. As you can see, I'm so fat now that I got to loosen my shirt. And earlier when I was in the hospital, I had to do an EKG. So I had to lift my shirt, and I felt bad for the lady who had to slap the thing right under, these, man boobs. That's what I got now. I'm just leaning into it now. All right. So it could be that Gina was trying to get some free jewelry. But it could also, normally if I see a chat like that, they normally bot out. Okay. So I don't think Gina was a bot. Because if she was a bot, why would she wait until that specific moment? If it was a bot, it just would have been random. And then there was only 2 comments. It was, what was it? It was like, hey, Carter. And it's like, I would love for you to put that necklace on me. Okay. So I'm suspicious about this. I am very suspicious. Was this a burner? Do I have a secret admirer out there? It did not seem like a bot. It was 2 comments. The 2 comments, and I did the Prezi collection thing like late, so you couldn't have been able to time the bot. Like we did it, and we normally do it at the 1 hour mark. This was at like the 1:15. I was like, I don't know. Seemed kind of fishy. So they're called moobs. Moobs? I'm starting to think it was at Max. But I also think, like Gina's photo, now that I'm thinking about it, Gina's photo did seem a little body, if you get what I'm saying. It wasn't clear. It wasn't like really candid or anything like that. it was kind of strange. So if it was if it was a bot, it would have spat something else out. But when I shut it down, you know what I'm saying? It just shut down. So I do think it was a secret admirer. Okay. Now, who that person could be, I don't know. I do talk to Jared quite often. So Jared, if you want to come clean, come right at me. Pause. I already know what Jared's going to say. Nicole would be too happy for that to be the case. So I don't think it was Jared. I don't think he would have come clean. I don't. So I'm trying to narrow down who Gina could be. And part of it, the funny thing about it, all right, the real funny thing about it, all right, is that today on the radio, we were talking about sports documentaries. All right. Jacob said, this is getting weird. Why aren't we talking about football? Well, the good thing, Jacob, is if you don't want to be a part of this conversation, I do have 2 videos on the 2 big topics of the day, and I'm also doing this live stream. Or what you can do, Jacob, is you can rewind this chat back an hour and a half, 2 hours to the beginning of this, and it's all football. I'm just sharing one very weird thing. I promise we'll get back into football. Okay? I promise. Just for you, Jacob. Just for you. I promise you. All right? DeMarcus has said, I want to get back into football as well. Okay. We'll do it, DeMarcus. Tell my wife Gina was a horse I've been on. She told me your horse called 3 times today. No. I understand, but I'm kind of, when you do these things for so long and you're an hour 42 in, I do go on non-football topics because we talk about it for like an hour. Okay. Now, I promise we'll get back into football just for 2 seconds, and then just let me finish this thought out. Okay. I did earlier today talk about on the radio the Manti Te'o documentary. So I am kind of spooked out by it because I really do think this was someone trying to catfish. I do. I don't think it was a bot. Now, it could just be somebody trolling. All the power to you. But is there a Renaya Tuiasosopo out there coming after my love? It could be. It very well could be. What's up, Bruce? What's up, Caleb? Good to see you. Everybody, welcome Caleb to the channel. Marcus to the channel. He is on a melting planet Saturn. Very interesting. Apparently he wants to play left tackle. I'm telling you, that's one of the most bizarre quotes I've ever heard Brian Kelly share. And like I said earlier, I don't think Brian Kelly would have shared that Zalance Hurd comment if he didn't think Will Campbell could handle Zalance Hurd saying what he said. Okay? But anyway, really quickly, because this is football. So for Jacob and DeMarcus and everybody else, type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you believe Gina is a real person? And actually, do you think Gina is a secret admirer of mine? I'm serious. I'm kind of freaked out by it now. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Denver Harris, flat out beast. I like Denver Harris coming out and I'm really freaking excited about it. Rob says yes. Jacob says yes. Mike says no, not a secret admirer. They're just trying to swindle me. Not my girlfriend, my fiance. Maybe it is Haley trying to get me slipping. She just wants a Presley discount, baby. Huh? 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 But yeah, blame Blanco T for the super chat. He did super chat. Okay. Eduardo Nuss Bus Driver. He's back. Bruce said, trust nobody on the internet. I love it. So, look at this. What could go wrong, Jared? What could go wrong? We're moving on from Gina. So, Gina, if you're still watching, feel free to comment. We're not. I don't think any more or less of you. If you want to be a part of PHL Nation, hit me up. LSU Kings of the West. Yeah, once again, I don't think Brian Kelly would have said what he said if he didn't think that Will couldn't handle that pressure. So I don't think I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. And I think Zelanter's going to play next year. Love your videos, Carter. Appreciate all the content. Appreciate you. Let's go to Max here. What freshman from last year's class that went under the radar do you think could make a big splash this year? Really good question. I think Demario Tolan to a certain degree, and he didn't really go under the radar. If you're like a PHL subscriber, you probably know who that is. Yeah, I think LaTerrence Welsh is probably the answer to this question because, you know, his special teams reps on kickoff team were a little shaky at times. But, you know, Brian Kelly's talking him up in practice. And honestly, last year was his first full year, like healthy. And I don't think it was healthy junior or senior year of his high school career. So, yeah, you know, it's I guess I would go Zelanter. I say Zelanter. LaTerrence Welsh. Why not? Caleb, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. By the way, for just now joining us, $70 worth of merch. Get you a Joe Burrow, Tyrann Mathieu, Jaden Daniels, Derek Stingley, and Kayshon Boutte card. Okay. Bruce asked a really good question up here. Let me get back to it. Rick should brew McCoy his NIL and come to LSU. Hate to see kids choose a school they want to go to and go elsewhere like Denver and Matthews. Yeah, I think it's strange. Where did Desmond Ricks really want to go? Well, I think he's got more teammates from high school on Alabama. I also think this is true, Bruce, and this isn't some grand statement towards IMG Academy at all, but IMG Academy is so radically different than all the other high schools because it is an academy, right? You move from your hometown to go play at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Ricks is from, well, Virginia, so he wasn't home. He made the announcement from home, but, he's been away from home. So I do think there are many pluses and minuses of playing at IMG Academy. Obviously, the biggest is the resources, right? They've got all these world-class physicians, tutors, all that good stuff. You're playing at an extremely high level with really competitive practices, really advanced, analytics and weightlifting program and all that stuff. Good coaching. You fly around the country. It does get you ready for that aspect of college football. It's your first time you're away from home. But I do think a negative of that could be you move away from home and you miss out on what truly makes football unique is the fraternal family aspect of the game of football, right? It really is a big extended family with over 100 people part of the operation. And, in high school, obviously that number is probably like closer to, depending on where you are, 50 to 70, whatever the case may be. When you go to IMG Academy, you lose that connection, right? You're not playing for the town. You're not playing for the mom and pop down the road. You're playing for a college team, right? And I do think when you play football in IMG Academy, that is a very important aspect of the game of football. It's about everybody around you. But the reason why most kids go to IMG Academy is for their own personal development, right? So if you're always thinking and you're in the mind of, hey, I want to go to the school that personally builds me the best, which is a perfectly logical way of doing that. I do think you also have to factor in what school will I be the happiest? What school where what school where I'm not even saying this right. What school that I could go to that would allow me to connect with the players in the community the way I would like to connect with the community, if that makes sense. It's always fascinating. Omarion, yes, I don't know what he's going to do. Obviously, feel kind of bad for that kid with the Mickey Joseph situation. So I think he's obviously reevaluating his options at this point. So yeah, Ricks will transfer here after he secures an Alabama bag. That's the thing. LSU was I won't say one way or the other 1,000% definitively, but LSU was taking care of him as well. I think he stays. Mickey Joseph was involved with a domestic dispute recently, and the police were involved, and it happened actually the weekend of the SEC. It came out the weekend of the SEC championship game, so it didn't make a whole lot of news really in Baton Rouge because of that. So yeah. Now, in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to answer as many questions as I possibly can. Okay. In the next 5, I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. But If you guys want to keep this going all night long, if you want to talk more about LSU, feel free to do that. Your super chat will keep going all night. Okay. Let's see. We had a great time. Thank you so much for having me. I don't think any of them. All right. So I was actually teasing this during the Pressy collection thing. One radical thing I would think about doing, and obviously it would depend on what this kid would want to do, but you know, and I know he wants to play receiver and he's got great catching ability, but Chris Hilton would be a good corner, right? He's obviously got the elite speed, and he's got great ball skills, catches the football at its highest point. I would think about it. I know he wants to play receiver. Everybody wants to play receiver, right? But yeah, I've thought about this quite a bit. I've thought of other LSU players in the past. But Chris Hilton is what, like 6 foot, 6'1"? Let me see what his LSU numbers are. Okay. Let's see. Fancy camera battery died. Let's see. I don't think he's too small to play corner, is he? Okay, according to LSU, he's 6'1", 182. I'm a robot. Huh? 6'1", 182. That'd be nice if he could play defense, but I don't know. I don't want to see him play offense wherever he goes. As long as he doesn't go to another SEC school, we're good. I mean, if he really wants to be at LSU, because I just don't know if I see a path towards playing time at a wide receiver. Okay. So in 2021, he redshirted. And then in 2022, obviously, he played. Russell Shepard would have been an excellent corner. Remember all those special teams plays he made? Yeah, absolutely. Especially in his college career, right? But his NFL career, actually his NFL career as well. I got my Russell Shepard autograph card somewhere back there. I love me some Shep. Yeah, I mean, and also at the time we were so loaded at corner, but yeah. The one thing, the one thing that I've always found to be fascinating is, yes, big time wide receivers make big time money, but corners also get paid as well. Like, let me look at this. I've never actually compared top corner salaries. And let's do, I know I would guess wide receivers get more. No, I don't want that. I want I want the Spocheck one. Okay. Now, wide receivers definitely get more. Oh, yeah, they get more. Let me take a look at this. All right. Stephon Diggs, former wide receiver, yeah. So what I want you to do right now is guess how many NFL wide receivers make $10 million a year. Okay. I want you to guess how many, give it your best guess right now. How many NFL wide receivers make at least $10 million a year? Okay. Give it your best guess. Okay. $47, $30, $12, $22, probably $50, $17, $31. Okay. $32. That's a good guess. Average one NFL wide receiver that averages 10 million. All right. Let's reveal the answer right here. Okay. All right. And the answer is 37. So just slightly over one per team. Okay. 37 make 10 million a year. All right. Now, how many of these wide receivers are actually good? Valdez Scanling's not that good. Russell Gage and DJ Chark have played well recently. Sterling Shepard's hurt. Tim Patrick's also hurt. They both tore their legs up early in the season. Goodness gracious. Look at how many wide receivers that just don't do anything. Corey Davis, Robbie Anderson got traded, Cortland Sutton, Russell Wilson, Allen Robinson has not been good. Thielen's been good. Renfro's been awful. Robert Woods, Evans, and Lockett have been good. It's just crazy that Robert Woods makes as much as Mike Evans and Lockett. Kirk has been good. Galladay sucks. Deontay good. Michael Thomas hurt. Brandon Cook's not that good. Chris Godwin has kind of fallen off a cliff. Godwin makes 20 million. Chris Godwin makes 20 million. So the Buccaneers have 3 wide receivers that make at least 10 million. Okay. Mari's good. Mike Williams is good. Keenan, towards the back end of his career, he's still good. DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Debo. Yeah, all these guys here are good. Okay. So everybody here is worth it. Okay. Yeah, the only thing about that $10 million deal, though, Carl, is that was a 1-year deal. So he's obviously going to get paid again this offseason. I don't think the Lions are going to re-sign him. He really needs to go to a contender, right? He's probably got like a year or two of prime left. So I'd love to see him on the Chiefs or the Packers or somewhere where he's got an actual QB, but he's playing pretty well. Okay, so 37 corners. Okay, I didn't spoil it. 37 receivers make $10 million a year. Okay. Now, how many corners make $10 million a year or more? Okay. You said 47 mistyped. How many corners in the NFL make $10 million a year or more? I consider 10 million like, factoring in taxes and living a little bit of an athlete celebrity lifestyle. I consider 10 million pretty comfortable for 1 year. Okay. How many NFL corners? Remember, there are 32 NFL teams. How many make 10 million or more a year? Okay. $17, $23, $41, $18, $10 or $15, less than $37. Brandon says $30. Okay. Again, this is a single salary, right? 13. Okay. All right, I'm going to play this quick spot while I change the poll question, and I'm going to reveal the answer in just a second. Dedicating this poll question for Jared. Okay. All good, fantastic. Good to see you. 17, 10, 13, 30, 10 or 15, 18. Carl says 23. And the answer is 23. Right on the dot. 23 corners. Jason, what's up, man? I'm so excited. So the poll question, Jason, was, or the trivia question, how many NFL corners make $10 million a year or more? All right. 23. So less than one per team. Gilmore's worth it. Darby, Darius Williams, Kendall Fuller. I don't watch enough NFL to know, but I know Dante Jackson is getting it. So that makes me happy. Okay. Dante Jackson, Adoree Jackson. I don't think either one of them have ever made a Pro Bowl. Marcus Peters is always hurt. Darius Slay is worth it. Tre'Davious White, worth it, even though he's been hurt. Marlon Humphrey, definitely worth it. Lattimore, worth it. Ramsey's a bit washed. I don't know if he's worth 20. Jair Alexander's not, apparently he's not played as well, and Denzel Ward. So there you go. So Chris Hilton, if you want to play corner, like we suggest, or at least think about doing, there you go. So the poll question that's just put up, which position would you rather play? Would you rather play corner or would you rather be an edge rusher? Okay. Carl, there you go. Sure hope there's an ultimatum in place for Daniels to push the ball down the field. Yes. And as big of a Jaden fan as I could be. And Jason, we talked about this, with Van as we were walking in and with your son. Jaden has got to drive the football down the field. He has got to throw the football down the field. Okay. Now, before I finish this, actually, I'm going to let a few people vote on the poll, and I'll give you the correct answer between cornerback and edge rusher. But Jason, you are right. I mean, we've got to be able to get the football vertically down the field, and Jaden has got to do a better job of it. It is quite simply not where we need to be as a team if we can't get the football down the field, and it could be costly. It could be very costly to us if we don't get vertical with our offense. So there you go. I like it. I knew you were an athlete. So when I saw Jason, I knew what Jason, you can attest to this, right? When I met Jason, I immediately knew he played baseball. I could just tell by his stature. He reminded me of one of my buddies from Homa. Who you remind you of your just the way you walk. You can always tell who played baseball, right? And now I know you played corner, right? And your name is Jason. So shout out to Jason Morgan and Jason Seahorn. I love it. I freaking love it. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I wish we could have spent more time. Me, you, Van, and the kiddo are having so much fun. But yeah, that's great, man. We got a few corners in here. Corner is the best position to play, exposes you on an island. Corner and X receiver on offense. Let the kid play his game, man. We were one kick away from a 10-win season. Strong disagreement, okay, for two reasons. All right. I think we can all agree. And it's okay if you disagree with Brian Kelly. It's perfectly fine if you disagree with Brian Kelly. But he said himself, we have got to be more aggressive throwing the football down the field. Okay. So Jaden, I want Jaden to be Jaden, right? I don't mind him not turning the football over. I don't mind him being, cautious from time to time. I don't mind him tucking and running. But when the coach hammers home, we've got to throw the football down the field. It's not up for any of us to really debate when a majority of the fans and the coach agrees, right? So yeah, no one's trying to completely change Jaden Daniels and who he is as a quarterback, because everybody can agree that there are a lot of good things that he does as a quarterback. But this idea that, we were one kick away from a 10-win season, that's living in the mindset of end results. Remember, Brian Kelly always preaches this. All the coaches preach this. Process over results. Okay? The truth is, if you're a process over results thinker, you can see that if you play 2 games and in both games you throw for less than 100 yards and you win both of those games, that's bad process over results. Okay? Played against Eddie Lacy when he was at Dutchtown. Dude was a savage. Okay, Jason. So let's do this. You're playing corner. You're kind of a big guy. You're not small by any stretch of the imagination. Okay. So Jason, I'm sure Eddie Lacy, come on, it's high school. I'm sure Eddie Lacy bounced a run to the outside. Did you duck him? Or did you actually take him on? Be honest, Jason, because my buddy Kevin Gaines, we had a big fullback on our team. My buddy Kevin Gaines would always, when one of our big fullbacks would bust through the holes, if Kevin Gaines was at safety, he would ole away from the tackler in practice, but he would slap the shoulder pads to make it sound loud. He ran. Jason's probably having bad flashbacks. He ran me over, straight flattened me. Okay, what was it? All right, I've got to get one of our viewers here. Emil is also one. Oh my God, this is so good. Huh? One of our viewers, Emil. Okay, I'm gonna text him right now. All right, so we have. This is great. So we have one viewer who got ran over by Chad Jones. Okay, you got ran over by Chad Jones. I don't know what's worse, getting hit by Chad Jones or getting truck sticked by Eddie Lacy. All right. But yes, I don't disagree with that. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier would beat Alabama in that spot. And Jaden was phenomenal versus Alabama. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Oh, you played him twice. Okay. Once again, I'm a big Jaden fan, right? But I think most people will tell you if you go 2-0 in games where you threw for under 100 yards, you're kind of lucky that you won those 2 games, right? Oh no, I'm not sleepy. I got a second win here, John Sibley. Here, I want to know more about this Eddie Lacy story. Okay. So Eddie, so what happened? What did you? I guess I'm just gonna have to get you on one time. Eddie Lacy broke it outside, and I've got to know more. So Jason, a little bit later, text me the full story, or if there's video, I'd love to see it. Jay Hill showed me a bunch of his like high school highlights, and they were just so ridiculous. Him and Lyle Collins just murdering people. Okay, so we got another one. All right, we got 3. Let me write these down. This is kind of cool. I glad PHL's got a bunch of athletes on here. Okay, so we have this is kind of cool. So Jason Morgan versus Eddie Lacy. All right. We also have Carl Alexander. Keelan Williams is kind of slept on. All right, and then we have Emil versus Chad Jones. Emil told me the Chad Jones hit does give him bad memories, so I'm going to be very cautious about it. Just a squeak to the outside. I tried going low, and he lowered his shoulder. I just couldn't imagine Eddie Lacy. My goodness, that is a tank. Abram Booty. Okay. We're getting a board. This is great. Abram Booty versus Doug Nose. I like that. All right. We got a bunch of good ones here. So if you've gone up against I think John Sibley probably has a few great stories. If you've gone up against an elite D1 athlete, let me know. Abram Booty is that's great. Oh man. It's so funny. And his son, General Booty. So good. Shout out North Louisiana. Wait, Adam. Okay, so what's the story? Brandon Jacobs? Wait, so you got ran over by Brandon Jacobs? Tell me this. I remember Josh Johns. I played my only 3 years of high school football in New Hampshire. I never even played against community college level talent. That's so funny. I should have hired Jimbo when they had the chance. Go Pels. Yeah, apparently CJ went off tonight. So you went up against Craig Davis and Skylar Green. That's filthy. That's a lot of speed. Leon Landry. Leon Landry was a tank. Baseball player, though. You barely tackled early descent on QB power. That's good. That's not bad. Oh, man. You ever played against a girl? That's crazy. Okay, so I want to answer this question. What position would you rather play for Jared? All right, so apparently we got a few corners in here. I'm telling you, if you've never rushed a passer in a padded setting, it is quite literally the funnest thing. Okay. It is the funnest thing. I promise you. I wasn't an edge rusher. I was an interior rusher, but I like rushing from. I would sometimes go out a wide dime, baby. Oh, so his dad. Okay, that's smart. Worked out well for him. There you go. So in the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. But if you want to keep this conversation going, hey, you just got home. I got to bring up Gina to her, right? I got to be upfront about it. Just be like, hey, Bubs, this bot, which wasn't a bot, I think it wasn't a bot, tried to slide into the Pressy Collection DMs. But the good thing, music, about pass rushing is it's harder to get pancaked. Now you can get slammed if you get caught. Going up against run blocking is not as fun as rushing the passer. I'll say that. We played Trinity Holiday in a jamboree one year. Played Chris Hawkins. Okay, I remember Chris Hawkins. I played free safety as well. While Patrick Willis make 25 tackles against my university. Ugh, that's kind of nuts. Where'd you play? Where'd you play college ball? Will Seven Banks play next year? I hope. Tony Taylor, Pineville. Practice squad salary. Michael Ford was a monster. At some point, yes, but a lot of things have to go his way. And you also got to factor this in as well, Joel. The AFC quarterback gauntlet to get to the Super Bowl is really hard now. I mean, I'm not a huge Trevor Lawrence fan, but he's good. And you've got Lamar, Herbert, Allen, Mahomes to get through. Okay. And while I'm not a big Tua guy, Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle was scary. So, yeah, it's going to be hard this year, but they've got a good chance. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video today. Fun live stream, guys. Thank you so much. We had 2 other videos from earlier today. If you want to go check it out. Also, don't forget, please go subscribe to the free Power Hour LSU podcast. It's anywhere you get podcasts, obviously Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. So make sure you check that out. Subscribe, ring the bell, all the good stuff. Don't forget Power Hour SEC. We're only 25 subscribers away from that mark. Okay? It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! And tonight we are doing tacos. Let's go.